Most of us want to change our lives, be more focused, more confident, more in control. But the truth is, big change rarely happens from big actions. It happens quietly, in the small, unnoticed moments, when no one's watching. The problem is, we often underestimate these small habits. We wait for motivation, for the right system, for that one big push. But psychology keeps showing us that it's the little things, repeated daily, that rewire how we think, feel, and behave. So if you've ever felt stuck in the same loop of wanting to improve but not knowing where to start, this video is for you. Because today we're exploring 5 small habits that quietly change everything, each one backed by solid psychology and simple enough to start today. By the end of this video, you'll understand why most people fail to change, even when they're trying, how to use micro habits that compound over time, and how psychology can help you reprogram your mind without forcing motivation. Let's start with the first habit. Psychologists call activation energy the mental barrier to starting something. Even simple tasks. You might plan to read for 30 minutes, but your brain sees it as effort, so you delay it. The 2-minute rule helps lower this barrier. Popularized by James Clear and supported by behavioral research, it states, when you start a new habit, make it so small it takes less than 2 minutes to do. So instead of saying, I'll study for an hour, you say, I'll just open my notes and read 1 paragraph. The beauty is, once you start, your brain overcomes inertia, and continuing becomes natural. I used to struggle with this while writing. I'd stare at the blank page, waiting for inspiration. But once I started typing a single sentence, it was like a mental gate opened. The psychology. This works because your brain rewards starting, not finishing. Starting builds momentum. Finishing builds identity. If you make it easy to start, you'll naturally do more than planned. And that small shift, from resistance to motion, is how real change begins. Every night before bed, take 5 minutes to ask yourself 3 questions. What went well today? What didn't go so well? What can I do 1% better tomorrow? This simple reflection is rooted in metacognition, thinking about your thinking, which psychologists have linked to higher emotional intelligence and self-control. You don't need a fancy journal, just a notebook or your phone's notes app. The act of writing helps organize your thoughts and release mental clutter. When I started doing this, I realized how many days I spent reacting instead of choosing. Reflection creates awareness, and awareness is the first step toward intentional living. Over time, this habit makes you calmer, more self-aware, and less impulsive. Because you're no longer running on autopilot, you're observing yourself. Have you noticed how hard it is to focus in a messy room or cluttered desk? It's not just a feeling, it's psychological. Studies from Princeton Neuroscience Institute found that clutter competes for your attention, reducing your ability to focus and process information. So, build a 5-minute environment reset ritual. Before you start working, or right after finishing, tidy your space, clear distractions, and reset your surroundings to neutral. This signals to your brain, this is a fresh start. For example, after studying, close your laptop, align your notes, and place your pen neatly. It's not about being neat for the sake of it. It's about training your mind to associate a clean space with clarity and readiness. Over time, this ritual becomes a cue, telling your brain it's time to focus or relax. It's one of the simplest ways to reduce mental noise without even touching your mindset. Our brains are wired for survival, not happiness. That's why we naturally focus on what's wrong, the negativity bias. To counter this, psychologists recommend micro-gratitude, noticing tiny good moments throughout the day. It's not about forcing positivity, it's about gently retraining your mind to see balance. For example, when you sip your coffee, say, "This is nice." When sunlight hits your desk, that's beautiful. When someone replies kindly, that was thoughtful. This quiet awareness releases dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals linked to motivation and contentment. I started doing this during stressful workdays. It didn't remove problems, but it changed how I saw them. Suddenly, the day felt lighter. Not because it was easier, but because my focus shifted. And here's the key insight. Gratitude isn't about what you have. It's about what you notice. That shift alone can transform how you experience life. This one might sound too simple, but it's powerful. Whenever you feel the urge to react, whether it's replying to a message, getting annoyed, or making a decision, pause for 3 seconds. Literally count 1, 2, 3. This micro gap activates your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain, and weakens the emotional impulse that drives regretful reactions. Psychologists call this response inhibition. It's a skill linked to emotional maturity and long-term decision-making. Used to answer emails instantly, often with frustration. Now I pause. And that short silence changes everything. Tone, clarity, and self-control. Because most mistakes don't come from lack of knowledge. They come from acting too quickly. The pause gives you control over your emotions, instead of your emotions controlling you. Now, here's what often goes wrong when people try to adopt small habits. First, they try too many at once. Real growth happens when you choose one habit and make it consistent. Focus on depth, not variety. Second, they expect quick results. But small habits are like compound interest. Invisible at first, then suddenly powerful. If you quit too early, you never see the curve rise. Third, they judge themselves for slipping. But self-criticism kills momentum faster than failure. Instead, treat each day as a fresh experiment. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be consistent. Let's quickly recap the 5 small habits that quietly change everything. The 2-minute rule. Make starting easy to overcome inertia. 5-minute reflection. Build awareness through nightly review. Environment reset. Design spaces that support focus. Micro-gratitude. Rewire your mind to notice what's good. The 3-second pause. Master emotional control before reacting. Each of these habits is simple. But simplicity doesn't mean weakness, it means precision. These are tools that work with your psychology, not against it. So if you're feeling stuck, don't chase massive transformation. Start small. Pick one of these habits and practice it this week. Because in time, these quiet moments will stack. They'll shape who you become. Not in a loud, overnight way, but in a steady, grounded one. And one day, you'll look back and realize, everything changed. If you found this video helpful, take a moment to like it. It helps more people find calm, science-backed guidance like this. And if you'd like more videos on mindful productivity and self-growth, consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one.